within. Those who are hungry, they need food. We are not hungry. We are not going to teach our children in Saura or Kui or Kubi. But the children who are really Saura and Kui are in the need of their mother tongue. They are community people. They are teachers from the tribal community should come forward to own the multilingual education. Till today, whatever the state governments have done, the community participation is missing. Therefore, only the material development and teacher training will not really work, and people are happy by preparing 30 big books, 60 big books, and giving training to 500 teachers, and they say that they have really understood multilingual education. I really, with humble submission, I must say that I have spent 25 years with the state government, spending crores of rupees for this multilingual education, and I find that unless you have a community interest, unless you have a community hunger, then you cannot survive this multilingual education. In 1988, NCERT started this. CJ Daswani and many people were there, but that did not work actually. So you have to understand that how school community linkages is a very important thing. And if community is interested, then the multilingual education can start. The state initiative to make it a system, then a program can help transformation in school education and provide learning to children. Therefore, I was asking the question to Professor Ramakant Agnihotri in day one, that what kind of, whether language is a goal or language is a means. So a paradigm shift in curriculum, teacher education, classroom learning, and school-based assessment can help MLE to sustain. States should initiate to think of decolonizing the restrictive monolingual ideology and introduce democratic multilingual ideology for a future education. So briefly, this was my ideas about multilingual education. And there are a lot of things to say about the realities of multilingual education, but this is not the right kind of platform because of it needs another kind of practicing multilingual education. But one important thing is that this national seminar really focus on the issues and challenges of multilingual education. Therefore, many issues have come, like the ideology, that what is monolingual ideology and what is multilingual ideology, what kind of knowledge is required for multilingual education, how the state should get ready for a paradigm shift, whether it will take 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, how the state looks at its education system to include all the languages, and how long it will take for a state to make a paradigm shift, and who are the persons, how to prepare the resource persons, how to prepare the MLE teachers is most important, and how it is a part of the system, not as a program. No project, no program. If it is a project and a program or a scheme, then you believe that this is only for the elitist multilingual people who will really enjoy the multilingual education as a job or a profession, but that will not really help a single tribal child or single child from the minority community to get help from the system. थैंक यू वेरी मच सरजू जी, मेलिसा जी, आप लोग मेरे को बुलाया और मैंने अपना जो भी कहना था आपके सामने कहा. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Explain about the democratic multilingual education, its role in sustainable development, and to make it happen and to impart equality in education. So, what are the the strategy we can take up? Like how should be the curriculum and how should be the language learning as a means of learning other language and as a means of goal of learning, and then you have to also sum up with the how can we sustain the multilingual education and each approaches, and you have explained very elaborately. So thank you so much. And then now we will proceed on with the another lead talk, which will be presented by Professor Sarju Yadav of the another lead speaker of this session. So, sir, Sarju sir, I request you to please present your talk. Sarju sir.
Hello, good morning. Hello.
या जादव जी सुनाई दे रहा है?
हाँ
हाँ,
सर, we can
okay,
hear you.
fine.
Hello, sir. I'm sorry. Before starting the presentation, the lit talks, I have to introduce and I have to put the brief resume of Professor Sarju Yadav. So, Professor Sarju Yadav was born in 1962 into a humble family of Jainagar village in Bihar. Dr. Sarju Yadav was awarded a gold medal for having stood first in the first class in MA English English examination in 1984 from Bhagalpur University. He also did MA in Hindi in 1987. He did his research work on Sri Aurobindo's plays for doctoral degree and guided 3 research scholars leading to the PhD degree. He was completed successfully 3 educational research projects, and he has 5 books in his credit. And published more than 65 research papers in journals of national and international repute. His books include Challenges of Teaching English Language and Literature in the Age of Globalization 2014, Language, Literature and Education 2008, and the New Perspectives on Sri Aurobindo's Play 2000. In addition to 2 edited books, namely Indian English Drama 2003 and The Challenges of Teaching Languages in the Age of Globalization 2017. So Dr. Yadav has actively participated and presented 45 research papers in national seminars, workshops, conferences, symposia, and chaired different technical sessions. He has 20 years of teaching experience and 20 years of research experience in the areas of English language and the literature. Currently, he has been working as professor of English language education in Regional Institute of Education, NCERT, Ajmer. He has attended several national and international seminars, workshops, and conferences. He has also worked as coordinator and the resource person in more than 65 NCERT programs, including training, development, and research. He has been contributing as the editor of Edu Explore, the Journal of Education, since January 2012. He is also associated as life member with the Indian Journal of English Studies and the Linguistic Society of India. And this Yadav sir also has been serving Northeastern region for a few years. And sir, so I request you, please
So
carry.
thank you very much, Professor Devi, for a very nice introduction, generous introduction. Good morning to all of you who are participating this great event on issues and challenges of minority education. I am very happy to be a part of this great event. For me, actually, it is a great opportunity to talk the people of NERIE. As Professor B. Devi has pointed out that I was in NERIE for about 5 years, from 2002 to 2006. It was a wonderful experience to work in Northeast along with all these colleagues like Dr. Melissa Walang, Dr. Sarjuwala, Dr. B. Devi, and all other faculties who are working at present. For me, actually, it is a wonderful opportunity to talk to you. Before I tell about my topic, I must be grateful to Dr. Mahendra Kumar Misra, who has wonderfully presented all the issues related to multilingual education. And let me confess that during these 3 days, this is the last day, and I hope that I would be the last speaker, I was enriched because right from the beginning of the inaugural with the keynote address by Professor R.K. Agnihotri, Then next day by Professor Rajesh Sachdeva, and many more speakers like Professor A.K. Misra, Professor Sandhya Sahu, Professor R. Meghnathan. Actually, it was a wonderful experience to listen to them. And today in the morning, I listened to Dr. Mahendra Kumar Misra, because, linguistics is not my cup of tea, but I love language, I love literature. And having said this, that because I know that whatever I am going to do, it would not be a kind of repetition, neither I would repeat. Because so far as language learning regarding minority education is concerned, a lot has been said, and much water has flowed from the Ganges of minority education. And it was a wonderful experience to listen to all these speakers. So let me begin with a few things which are related to language. Am I audible? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Yeah, clearly, no problem.
Okay, fine. So I will talk here. Actually, this is a topic which is related, because although it is in two parts, but my focus would be more on language. Why language matters? Why it is significant? Because about learning and teaching, a lot has been said by other speakers. Although later part, I would throw some light on that also with some way forward. But let me begin with the confession that language is something central in the entire scheme of school education or education as a whole. And we know that language is the most powerful position for the human being. And it is rightly said that language is the supreme proof above physical health and beauty that we exist in this world. So it means that language is integral into our personality, into our existence. Rather, let me begin with one anecdote or one saying about Africa, that it is said that in Africa, there are some people there, when a child is born, a child is called Kintu, means a thing. And he or she becomes Muntu, means human being, only when the child starts speaking. So it means that in order to be a human being, it is also necessary to know language, to know how to articulate in language. So language is something very vital. So in the beginning, I would say that language is not everything in education, but without language, everything in education is nothing. Because nothing can be done without language. So language is something so vital, so important, so significant that we can't learn, we can't teach any subject. So it means that language, as Dr. Misra was pointing out, that language learning is also for teaching other subjects, because learning language is not sufficient. Other function is important. So language is used as a means to learn other subjects. So there is a lot of relation of cognition with the language. And then that's why the other statement by B. Pattison is, language is not an objective to be pursued for its own sake. It is a means of pursuing various human activities. Rightly, it is true that it is not an objective. It is not in itself a kind of goal, but it is a means to pursue other human activities. And also we have seen that previous speakers have pointed out that language has a deep relation with culture. And I'm reminded, because I am a student of literature, so I'm reminded of one line by Ben Jonson, an Elizabethan poet, who has written that language most shows a man is speak, that I may see thee. It means that language can take you into the heart of an individual. It can take you into the culture of an individual. You allow somebody to speak for some time. After some time, you will be in a position to know that what sort of person she or he is. So this is a wonderful tool. This is a wonderful, actually, weapon in the hands of a human being that helps a lot to develop the proximity, to know the individual. And why the people who belong to the minority section or marginalized people are limited? Because see that one person has told that the limits of my language mean the limits of my world. So means this is true that a person, because the entire power, the entire expansion of knowledge is through language only. So if you are not very good in articulation in language, it will limit your personality, it will limit your world. And even in the Rig Veda, there is a great respect for a person who has command over language. Some of you must have heard the name of Vachaspati. Vachaspati means a person who had the perfection, the supreme command over articulation. So Lord of the speech, Vachaspati. So in our ancient scriptures also we have a lot of respect for the person who has command over language or command over art of articulation, communication. And Chomsky, Noam Chomsky, you are aware with the name. Everybody knows that linguist who says when we study human language, we are approaching what some might call human essence, and it is unique to man. Actually, human language is different from other animals. And language, as we understand, is different from the sound of the birds or hissing of the serpent or any other animal. No doubt they have their own ways of communication, but human language is something unique, and it is the essence of our life. And we cannot exist without this powerful tool. And now let me just take you into the world of these things. When we say that languages matter, you must be knowing that in UNESCO has declared in 2008 that languages matter. Actually, it was the main and serious concern about those endangered languages. But here I will just take you into the background, the cardinal elements which make language important in our life. And under the umbrella of the topic which I have been assigned, where some of the sub-themes like language, society and culture, language, literature, art and aesthetics, language, learning and cognition, language, power and identity. So let me just talk about society. Actually, society is as old as, our existence. In the beginning, that people started living just in a group like other animals. And it was necessary because people were living in hostile forces. And it was a necessity. And sophistication came later on. And the first thing that actually helps the society and the people who were living in the society is the language. Because through language, they develop a kind of communication, interaction to each other, and life became easier. So man is the most efficient earthly creature on the earth who developed the sound into such an intelligible kind of communication. And this is the reason that it is said that the proper study of mankind is not man, but language. it is the language which actually made them sophisticated in the society. And as I told you that cultural aspects were also improved because of the language. So language helps society to have better cohabitation, live together properly, and finally sophistication came. Our civilization was also promoted, and culture, when we talk about culture, actually language plays very significant role. As I told you that if you want to know the culture of an individual, allow him to speak for some time, you will come to know that what sort of person he or she is. So it is necessary that when we study language, we must study in relation to society and culture. And language and literature. Normally, nowadays, what has happened that nobody is interested in literature. Most of them are only willing to learn language. But let me just submit that actually, language cannot be used in a vacuum. And if you learn language as a tool simply to communicate, it is not the complete study of language. No doubt, nowadays, when somebody asks that what you want to become, actually nobody is interested in literature. They want to study science, technology, medical science, because people say that literature will not help us because money has become the crux of the society, and literature does not figure in helping us to earn money. So people have become commercial in their attitude, and in this way, literature has taken a back seat, and it has done a lot of harm to our language. Actually, when we say language, it is not simply, as Agnihotri also on the first day pointed out, that language is not simply a means of interaction, talking. Literature actually has the storehouse of art, aesthetics, literature, and literature. Aristotle has called literature the flower of humanity. Actually, literature needs to be studied, needs to be read, because it has some common interest for each and every individual, irrespective of your profession, whether you are a doctor, engineer, a laborer, a farmer, a man of technology. Literature is something which appeals to the heart and mind of each and every individual. No person can tell that I am not interested in literature, because either a person creates literature, creates poetry, or he or she likes to read or listen it. So it means that man cannot live by bread alone. We need art, we need aesthetics. So literature is a thing of beauty because it has the beauty of form, beauty of language, beauty of emotion, beauty of ideas. So it means that the language of literature is something different from the day-to-day language, but it has the wisdom, it has the kind of values. Nowadays we people talk that we don't have the human values. This is the reason that we people have moved away from literature, we have moved away from art and aesthetics, because unless and until we read literature, even a simple story like Panch Parameshwar by Premchand can tell us how, when there is a line there in the story, when Bodhi that Khalu means mouse of human stick was not getting the justice. Then he goes to Algu and she proposes that you become the judge in my case because I'm not getting justice. Then he says that यदि मैं जाऊंगा और मैं पंचायत करूंगा तो बिगाड़ हो जाएगा. उस समय बूढ़ी जो काकी है, मौसी है, वो कहती है कि मौसी, यदि मैं जाऊंगा तो मेरा बिगाड़ हो जाएगा। उस समय मौसी कहती है, खालाजान कहती है कि क्या बेटा बिगाड़ के डर से ईमान की बात ना कहोगे। अब आप देखिए एक छोटी सी कहानी पंच परमेश्वर, जिसमें कितनी बड़ी बात कही गई। ये जो बात, और उसके बाद उसका स्वाभिमान जग उठता है, उत्तरदायित्व जग उठता है, और वह पंच बनने के लिए तैयार हो जाता है। आप, when you will read literature, it is a kind of, a storehouse, the kind of repository of several values which are actually urgently required in order to make our society, in order to make our life, living and kicking, in order to make our life more livable. So language helps a lot, but it is encoded in literature, it is in art, aesthetics. Aesthetics is also important because when we talk about aesthetics, it means that love for beauty, love of doing something gracefully. So if language is taught through literature, through art, through aesthetics, now there is a great focus in National Education Policy 2020 also, when there is a chapter about promotion of Indian languages, art, and heritage. So I believe that language cannot be learnt in isolation, in a cut and dried manner. We have to make it interesting. And literature is such a thing: poetry, drama, novel, short story. These are the things which can be used in our classroom in order to make language learning more interesting. And now it is also necessary to know, as we know that language learning and cognition, as it is true that we cannot think without language. We cannot grow emotionally, intellectually, socially without language. So language is always at the helm of affairs of the entire process. And now people say that power, how language is associated with power. Actually, about power, Michel Foucault says that power is nothing but an strategy. Actually, and language, through words, through language, power can be exercised, can be exerted in a better way than any other means. And that's why it is said that word is power, language is power. Language matters because it empowers us. We know how to influence the people. Suppose that I am a teacher. My empowerment lies in the skill of language. My power actually is just related with the kind of language I know how to use it. So that's why it is said that communication is an art to conquer death. So language can be used as a power, and we know that we remember the people, and we can influence the attitude of the people by using suitable language, by using suitable idioms and phrases. And identity is also associated with the language because it is necessary, because when we are talking about the minority languages, I know that researchers say that unless and until we have a kind of respect for the languages of those tribal people, it is impossible to help them. It is impossible to actually just enable them to broad a stream. So identity is associated with the language, and in the morning session, Dr. Misra has pointed out that actually we need not to bring them into the mainstream, but we have to broad stream ourselves. We have to go there. We have to respect their languages, their culture, their identity. Only then a peaceful cohabitation the real progress, the real kind of sustainable development can be possible. So these were the things which, although will take a lot of time, but I want to go into those details because you know all these things. And now come down, because having said this, I have tried to just cover some of the important issues which are closely related to language. And then I will talk about something that, this, although these things have been discussed in detail by other speakers in the beginning, previously, but let me tell you that actually, when we talk about language, actually every child is born with language acquisition device or universal grammar. It is known to all of us. And there is also a theory that in the initial years, language learning can be better than the later on years. So these are the things which not I will take much time for that. And we talk about critical period hypothesis, comprehensible input hypothesis, because we learn our mother tongue not deliberately. We have learned our mother tongue because we found that language surrounds us, and by listening again and again by our parents, by our elders in the family, a child learns the mother tongue. So this is also applicable to other languages. And that's why we talk about the reading corner, like input rich and print rich environment. And people have already talked about all these things. And here actually, Bix and Kalp are the concepts that it is said that a child who comes to the school comes with the Bix, means with the knowledge of the mother tongue, and all the experiences that he has. When we say BICS, means basic interpersonal communication skill. It is used by the people in the society, whether they are literate or illiterate, because they know how to communicate in a language which is mutually understandable, intelligible. But when a child goes to school, the problem is that how can a child, because the school language is different from the home language, and we face the problem that how to bridge the gap between the school language and the home language. Child feels disenchanted when he listens to his teacher in talking in a different language than what he knows. So no doubt in the beginning, as we know that mother tongue or the regional language should be used as a resource to bridge the gap, because later on, in order to enhance their knowledge, to make them self-driven learner, it is necessary to have command over a language which can be called cognitively advanced language proficiency. Because unless and until, because there are many mother tongues which have no script, have not teaching learning materials in that. So it is necessary in case of the second language or the third language. And we talk about L1, L2, L3. We know that multilingualism has been discussed in detail. Language across the curriculum. Actually, in the initial stage, it is said that language is not the monopoly of a language teacher in language classroom. Language can be learned, can be taught, even by a science teacher, by a social science teacher, because no subject can be taught or learned without language. So language is used as a means, as a mediation in every subject. No social science can be taught without language. So there also we have our own experiences that you remember some of the teachers of social science or science, not because that they have wonderful command over subject matter only, but they knew how to articulate, how to communicate in effective manner, how to reach to the readers, how to reach to the learners. Because unless and until you know how to use your language in a very sophisticated manner, very artistic manner, you cannot touch the heart of the readers. You can't touch the heart of the learners. So a person who has command over the language can be a better teacher of science, can be a better teacher of social science, and in that way, there also learning can be taken place. So these were some of the issues which I wanted to tell you in brief. And now, actually, just I will take a few minutes about how does language learning take place. Again, I will quote here Noam Chomsky, who says, language learning is not something that the child does. It is something that happens to the child, placed in an appropriate environment, much as the child's body grows and matures in a predetermined way when provided with appropriate nutrition and environmental stimulation. So language is something spontaneous. It is caught, it is learned by the child in this way. So, so it means that again here it is emphasis on input-rich environment. And then in our NCF 2005, also it has been said that language is best acquired through different meaning-making contexts. And hence all teaching is, in a sense, language teaching. So as I told you that actually language assumes its meaning, word assumes its meaning in a particular context. So unless and until we have some activity, we have some, kind of a scopes where learners can interact, can participate, it is not possible to learn language. And here, D.P. Patnaik, a great linguist, who was also former director, who was director of CIL Mysore, has beautifully said, and it will have the solution that how